Hi, my name is Steve Robbins. I am Product Director for GUISys Corporation. Yes, pronounced GUISys. What I hope to do today is show you how to navigate our GUISys test apps from DSO through Ethernet testing. To test DS3 or DS1, simply press on the DS3, DS1 application. The test set will do a quick power up and you should see elapsed time at the top. Do not press any buttons until you do see that elapsed time. From here you can pretty much read the test set from left to right. It's configured for T1A, monitor mode, network clock, ESF framing, and B8ZS coding. Notice the upside down triangles will tell you there's more configuration. So if I want to change this test set T1A to term mode, it's as simple as press the monitor, select term. Now the test set is configured for termed network clock. I do have a hardwired loop from transmit to receive, so I'm going to go ahead and change the clocking from network clock to internal timed. It says we did take out of frames AIS, B8ZS, or I'm sorry, bipolar violations. I can go ahead and clear that out by pressing the clear. And this gives us a nice no errors. In other words, there's no there's no alarms, there's no events, no errors of any kind. And again, if you read the test set, term, internal clock, ESF, B8ZS, that is how it's configured. From here you can run, say, a straightaway BERT by pressing the BERT button, and you can scroll up or down. That bar to the right there tells you if there's more. But at the very top is the most common T1 pattern, such as QRSS. So I just selected a QRSS pattern. So now it's sending that. To the right of that, we're seeing 0 errors. To the left of it, we're receiving B8ZS code word, because obviously the transmit is sending out B8ZS as well. If you'd like, you could loop up a device with our test set. Very simple. You just select whatever loopback, and we have all the T1 loopbacks known to man. I'll just exit out, leave it NIU5, the most common. You press loop up, and the test set will actually loop up an NIU device, tell you that it is an active loopback, or it'll tell you that it failed if it didn't loop back the device. From there, again, you'd run BERTs. You could select your BERT pattern, again, by hitting that button there. If you wanted to loop down the device, it's as simple as you just hit loop down. The test set will send the loop down command until the device actually loops down. If you wanted to insert an error, you just hit the set errors, select logic, hit OK. Now it hasn't inserted yet because I haven't hit the inject or insert button, if you will. But to do that, just as simple as press inject. This will insert one logical error. Notice QRSS is highlighted along with 1-bit error to the right. The no errors goes away, and all the alarms, events, we didn't take any alarm, we didn't have an event happen, but we did have a logic error. Again, I can clear that out by hitting the clear button, so all that will wipe away. The elapsed time will then restart, and away you go with your test. If I wanted to view this in portrait mode, simple as just press the portrait button here. So now I'm viewing it in portrait mode. I'll go back to landscape just for the demo. That's T1A. As I mentioned earlier, this is a dual T1 test set. To look at the second T1, which is totally independent T1 test set, it's like you have two test sets. Just simply select T1B. Now I'm going to configure T1B for term mode. I'll go D4 framing. I'm just going to leave my network because I don't have B looped, but he is configured differently than A. Notice we're lost of signal, out of frame, and obviously because I don't have anything looped on the B side. B is laid out identical to A, so that's the neat thing. You don't have to learn a new interface. If you understand A, going to B is a piece of cake. If I want to go back to A, Select that. Now A's still running the test I left him in. So he's still running a QRSS. He's been running for a minute 23, minute 24, and taking no errors. So anything I'm doing on the B side is not going to affect anything going on at the A. The only thing it does is it just switches the GUI of which A or B port you're looking at. A couple other things just to highlight. Here's our frequency and level measurements receive. We're not taking any slips because I don't have anything connected to the reference. And then RTD, round trip delay, that happens when you inject an error, and then it'll measure the round trip delay. Under the menu button are some tests that what we try to do is basically put about 95 to 98% of what a technician is going to do day in and day out right on that screen. Under the menu are some configurations and tests that a technician might not do on a daily, maybe a monthly basis, or some might not even do it all, but look at SSM messages and set the time signaling generator thresholds, that type of thing. And I can go ahead and just exit out of that. And that's really our T1 test set. Is a full-featured T1 test set. Now the neat thing with going from T1 to DS3 is once you know our T1, going to DS3 is going to be a piece of cake. Select DS3 and notice it's laid out similar to the T1A and T1B. The only difference is, instead of ESF, it's C-bit, and instead of B8ZS, it's B3ZS for DS3. So I can go ahead and configure for term. I need to change my clocking because I do have an external loop on DS3. I'll go ahead and clear everybody out and get the no errors just as I did with DS1. I can start a BERT pattern. I'll select the most common, which is 2 to the 23rd, or I can scroll up and down. 2 to the 23rd for DS3 is the most common. So I'm running a 2 to the 23rd 0-bit error. Again, notice it's very similar to DS1. You get your DS3 NIU loopback. Here's your frequency and level measurements as well. I can change it from portrait to landscape, back to portrait. And the cool thing is, once I solve my DS3, I can go back. Let's take a look at what our DS1's doing. DS1's still cooking along here, 4 minutes into it, so he's still testing. I can go back, take a look at DS3. He's been testing now for about 50 seconds. I can actually exit out of all those. The tests are still running. I can go over and I can actually run a GigE test. I can run, say, 100 meg copper. I can go to 1 gig copper. I can go to 1 gig fiber, whatever. Do whatever test I want to do here. And then I can go back and then look at what my DS3 is doing. He's going along with no errors. Look at my DS1. He's going along with no errors. Just to prove, I'll go ahead and inject an error on DS1. I can exit out of that. I can go look at user manual to see if I want to do some other tests, maybe monitor bridge, that type of thing. Scroll through the user manual, exit out of that. I'll go back here and we'll still have 1-bit error on the T1A. So that's it as far as training for DS1, DS3. On the front panel we do have Bantam jacks labeled DS1A, DS1B, and then BNCs for DS3. If you'd like any more information, please contact your local representative or look us up on the web, GUISYS, GUISYS.com. And we'd be glad to, if there's any test you do day in and day out that you'd like to see with our test set. Very easy to do. We could email it to you. You can put it in the GUISYS tablet and view it on the tablet or view it on YouTube.